Hello, everybody. All right. As you guys can tell, Rick is here. He's just getting some food at the moment. Um, Hope everybody's having a good night tonight. Um, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. We're just waiting around for some more of our guests to show up. Um,
And here I am.
yep, and we did just get started. All right. Yeah. So how's your weekend, Rick?
Not too bad. Went out for dinner yesterday. Got some toys, got some movies. Well, more TV series than movies.
Hmm.
With well, it was my birthday yesterday, so
All right. Yeah, I think I did see something. You might have seen I posted on Facebook a happy birthday to you.
yes, I did, and I gave it a like and typed thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So you're what, 48 now or 46?
Nope, I am 50.
Oh, you're 50. Wow. Big
I
five
know,
zero.
crazy, eh?
Yeah. Actually, weren't you also on Rex's channel yesterday as well at some point?
Yeah, I ended up having being on Rex's after I got home from doing everything.
Ah, Shadowhawk dropping in. Hey, Shadowhawk, I know I sent you the link if you want to come in and join us in the studio here.
Yeah,
I'll
I don't think
just be
he's gonna do
lurking there.
that because he's gonna be lurking.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. It's a view, right?
right.
So
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So, anyways, we're just, as I said, just waiting around for more people to show up. But we got three people now, so that's good to see.
yeah.
Um.
So how was your weekend though?
Um. Well, pretty much same old, same old. Yesterday, I pretty much and Shadowhawk was saying, "Hey, Rick."
Hey, Shadowhawk.
Yeah. Yesterday, Saturday is kind of my usually my kind of my more lax day. I'm not necessarily Granted, I still end up doing stuff because of course I got to still prep for the week and get all the shows up set up you know, and then did what I typically do. I'll get keep caught up on my YouTube subscriptions. Play some games here and there. Watch Naruto last night, and that's about the gist of it. So
Cool, cool.
yeah. Anyways, just
Yeah,
wait a
I've
few.
been on Tubi. I've been slowly going through Archie's Weird Mysteries.
Yeah, you mentioned that last week. I've been watching the original Dark Shadows, 1966,
Yeah,
on there. I was just thinking about something too as I was watching Dark Shadows, and I looked at the Dark Shadows wiki, and I would look up, try to look up the ages and stuff of people as they're going on. Um,
yeah.
it's kind of funny because when you look a little closer, particularly at the Collins family, not only at times does it seem that they have children late in life, but you would think even at the point in history they would be it would be almost like um how are they having children at
The
that?
Dark Shadows Rex or the Weird Mysteries?
Rex has been
And
watching.
one of the
Oh,
movies I got yesterday, GI Joe Snake Eyes. I got it for like $4 Canadian,
yeah. Hmm.
and I got the first season of The Flash on Blu-ray
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
for $17.
First season. So,
Yeah, the
Shadowhawk
CW
and
Slash.
Dark Shadows.
Oh, Dark Shadows.
The original 1966 version Shadowhawk or the revival in 91? Yeah. But as I was saying though, as I looked at because so according to the Dark Shadows wiki, right? Isaac Collins was born in 1639 and died sometime after the 1700s. Now, when he supposedly came to, as they covered this in the audio drama, The Crimson Pearl, when he came to America in 1690, that would have made him about 51 right there. He and his wife Anna, or I believe, or Annabelle, were having their first child at that age. Now, I'm just guesstimating here that
Yeah.
I'm just guesstimating that she was probably about 4 years younger than him. You
And
know,
hello, Woody.
hey Woody, we see you. Um, I mean, she could have been significantly younger, but basically, he's 61, and if she's let's say 57, they're supposed. Now, I know sometimes back in those days too, sometimes you did have situations where you did have a significant age difference in some
Yeah,
couples.
well, you even have that today. Significant age differences.
Yeah, but I typically average at about 4 years. So you know, so basically they were having there's so when he was leaving England to go to America in 1690 and infant child. So
Yeah.
and then the Shadowhawk. So it's like um so then Caleb, who was his first son, born in 1690, and then when I read through some of the audio drama from Dark Shadows, when I was reading the synopsis a little bit,
Yeah.
they had their second son Theodore approximately right around 1700, which would have made him like 74, I believe, or 72 when they had their first child, um, Millicent Theodore Collins. Millicent Collins, who was born supposedly in 1772, and then 85 when they had their second child, Daniel, who was the patriarch of the 1840. It's like I'm looking at these, I'm thinking, wow.
Yeah.
The present day everything's fine. Like Elizabeth Collins' daughter is like 50, and her daughter is like 21. So it's like a little bit. But I'm like thinking back here, and like I wonder if Dan Curtis's people were really realizing what they. Now, granted, in the early stages, there's like in the original series, there's like two separate parts. There's Dark Shadows, the beginning, which originally was supposed to focus on Victoria and her search for her birth parents, and I think the original plan was for her to be, and eventually they did do that as well, but it became more of a subplot as opposed to the main plot. But I think the main plot was supposed to have it be revealed that Victoria was a Collins, which she was a child born out of wedlock
Yeah.
to Elizabeth's daughter. I think that was the original intent of it. But then when Barnabas was introduced in like episode 206, the series eventually changes. He became the lead character and had him time traveling all over history and stuff like that. So that's just some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I know that's not a well. I guess if you want to look at it from the perspective of a horror gothic soap opera, kind of in the horror genre as like niche kind of thing, you know,
Yeah.
but classic TV, what have you. But anyways, let's see now. Like, okay, so we're coming up on like 10 minutes here.
Yeah.
All right. So, Rick, you want? I know everybody. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Maybe share some links.
Well, as most people know, I am Rick Piper of Cross Comics. I do YouTube, and I do comic books, Christian comic books, and well, I'm not sure what else to say beyond that. Just if you're not subscribed to me, um, coming in, I'm not sure whether you were there to hear it on Tuesday, but coming January, I'm going to 5 days a week again. Um, in doing shows when Monday, Thursday, and Friday it'll be at noon Eastern, and then Tuesday I will be keeping the chill stream at 10 Eastern, and then unfortunately I'm going to be putting myself up against Rex most likely on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Eastern.
Hmm.
Um, for my my 5 o'clock shadow. I did have that before Rex. I believe Rex started at a 5 o'clock shadow show. He has 4 o'clock shadow. I have 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, but in essence, it is the same time because his is 4 o'clock Central, yours is 5 o'clock Eastern, so it's
Yeah.
pretty much the
So
same
it'll be at
time.
the same times, but it's only one day a week. I'm just trying to vary the times a little. Just you know, hopefully get different audiences. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some overlap of audience of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody wants to go watch, I put up a short earlier today that's about 50 some odd seconds long. It's under a minute, so it's on my character Toxico. So I guess with that, I
Yeah.
will be
I'm
quiet.
just
Well, not be quiet, but let us get on with the show.
yeah. All right. So, anyways, okay. Actually, I do need. Well, let me do your link real quick here, and I'm going to ask you to entertain everybody for a couple minutes because I do have to step away from the computer for a moment. I'll be right back.
Okay, I can try and do that. So, how is everybody's night tonight? How's everybody's weekend been going? And of course, that whole thing with me starting that back up is to get my hours back, watch hours back up, so I can get monetized. The middle monetized step where I can get super chats, yay, and super stickers, and the ad for stuff at the bottom for my stores or whatever, and stuff like that. And also I can do subscriptions. Now that would mean private streams for people that are members. I have no idea what I do for those. Maybe some sort of private stream on a Saturday or whatever. I don't know. People have to let me know what they might like for a private stream. No naughty stuff though. Um, so on Monday I will be doing. I wrote most of a hair manga, and I will be trying to draw that up. I've done the first page. Um, Last time I was working on it, I was working on the cover for it. After I get the cover done, colored in, and all that, I will be moving on to various pages on it. Tuesday will be, of course, be the chill stream, which no art, just a panel. Whoever comes on, we talk about this, that, whatever comes up. Wednesday will be hopefully I'll be able to get some comic creators on and talk with them about their projects. And then Thursday, fan art, some
Hmm.
stuff for either people that I had on the day before, their stuff, or other people's stuff that I know about. Try and do indies. I might end up doing some DC and Marvel stuff still, but
Hmm. All right. So, anyways, I guess well, maybe we'll get some people come in soon. Hopefully, in the studio here.
yeah.
Um,
Metal wasn't sure whether he'd be able to make it or not, but he did
but
say he would try.
Yeah. Well, I hope he will because one of the stories I was gonna look at tonight was more of an anime related story in regards to some a release that he might be a bit interested in. So, um, anyways, we're at the 15-minute mark, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at what's going on in the world of news? Well, I guess technically last couple of weeks, because this is more like from a couple weeks ago. What I'm gonna focus in on tonight here. Now, this first article, I think you might be interested in because it does have some. It has kind of a connection to some old Christian comics.
Yeah. Are these ones? Oh, treasure chest. I know DC did some, but I don't think these are them.
No, these are not from DC though. Yeah, DC did some. Marvel did some over the years. They've been and Standard. I think also did some over the years too. Um, this is from a completely independent. This is actually from 1948. Treasure Chest of Fun and Facts. So, um, Voyage Comics to digitally remaster Treasure Chest of Fun and Fact to, quote, teach our children old fashioned American values, unquote. Article by John F. Trent, published back on June 13th. As I said, about a couple weeks ago. Voyage Comics announced they will not only digitally remaster Treasure Chest of Fun and Fact, but will also bring the comic book magazine back to print.
Cool.
And you see that it looks like it's their depiction of Jesus right
Ju-
there.
Judas Kiss,
Yeah,
and I don't mean the band.
yeah. The comic book magazine was originally created by George uh, Palfam of Dayton, Ohio, when the first issue with the first issue being published on March 12th, 1946. So,
I wonder whether this makes it fall into public domain or not.
well, it could be. Um, Albeit, I don't think the sites I have on it would have it, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
um, according to the Catholic University of America, the magazine was, quote, a response to the undesirable comic books of that time, with the intent to use the comic book format to teach tenets of both Catholic faith and American patriotism. It was generally not available for sale at newsstands, but rather via distribution through the Catholic parochial school system. So
Uh,
basically, if you remember, this is around the same time as well that the whole that everything was. I think Dr. Worthen,
yeah.
the psychologist,
So,
psychiatrist, he was doing his book. I think he was doing his research at this point into all that. And this was a response to all
yeah.
something that going on.
I will do that. Apex.
Oh, hey Apex, I know I sent you the link so you can drop in. You can come right into the studio here.
He's just asking me to send it on.
Yeah, well, I sent him the link in the messenger. When I messaged him earlier.
Okay. I don't know why I can't find Apex. I'll send it just in case.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. So, well, we'll wait a moment to give him a chance to get in here. Yeah,
So,
when
I was just gonna say. So it seems like it was sort of a scholastics type thing for the Catholic Church back in the
yeah,
40s.
yeah, that's what it would seem like there. Um, there's Woody. He's saying hi to Apex Comics. Yeah, so
Yeah, I
yeah.
just typed your name in the search bar for messages Apex and I found it easy enough.
Hmm.
So it should be there by now if you haven't seen it.
There he is. Hey,
Howdy.
hello.
Howdy.
Yeah, so I did send you the link when I messaged you earlier, but were you not able to link from there?
Well, I don't use Facebook that much.
Oh, you don't use, but
Uh,
you still read the message.
I read the message, yeah, but I get it on my phone, but on my laptop, I don't really mess with it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it
Okay.
goes.
Yeah. It's
Hey,
easy
well,
enough for me to send it, copy and paste it. So he's
Thank,
here. That's what matters, right?
yeah, right, exactly,
thank you,
exactly.
Canadian Shield, for providing the link. Yes.
Yeah. Um. All right. Well, before we continue here, Apex, you want to introduce yourself to everybody, and you can also. I think I gave you. I think I did give you a wrench, so you can go ahead and share any links if you'd like to any
Got it.
projects you're doing or
Ooh, I
anything
got a
like that.
wrench. Okay, will do. I go by Apex Comics. I have my own YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, ring bell notifications, share the videos. And I do live streams about every week. Apex After Dark. I introduce uh, people who are in the industry getting started, who are struggling with some of their campaigns. I hope get some eyes and ears to people who happen to watch my channel. And also, I invite some popular artists from time to time, and some Comicsgate people, and people outside of CG, and other places.
Yeah.
Just gonna learn
Cool.
from them, have fun, and we all get entertained.
Yeah, and as I understand it, of course, you when you do some of your Apex After Dark shows, you usually do them with Rex and Hex, right? Rex and
That's
Hex.
right. Well, Rex, only with my Apex After Dark. We do the Rex, Hex, and Apex show every other Saturday on each of our channels. So we have that on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 noon Eastern, or if you're on the West Coast, that would be 9 a.m.
And as I said, if you want to share any links either to any projects you're doing or your channel, whatever, feel free to do so.
Thank you.
And Metal's here.
Hey, Metal.
We're getting more of a full house
Metal.
here. Hey, Metal.
I figured it would be a good time to hop in, given the fact that you were in the middle of somebody else giving their intro, so I'm not missing too much.
Good.
Well, we had started on an article, but then Apex came in, so we're giving him a chance. And now that is there anything else you'd like to say, Apex, before?
I have my hold on. Yes. Let me go ahead and might as well pimp some of my books here. Doing this, you want to blow me up?
Yeah.
Cool.
As soon as.
I don't think we want to blow you up yet. End up in
Oh,
pieces.
okay. I'll do it later. Oh,
No,
I'm joking.
ha! Yes.
We don't want you to
I
end up
am
in
already
pieces.
All right. Well, I'm pimping some of my books here. This is the Apex Comics Cavalcade Ashcan. Nice wraparound color cover. You get 20 pages, 3 stories, all for a good. It's a low print run, $10 each, postage paid. And I have the Apex Comics Golden Age mini comic set, trading card size mini comics, Madam X and Nikolai Star. Madam X is 32 pages. Nikolai Star is 28 pages. Get the set for $10, postage paid, and a print behind here. If you buy 2 for $20, you get a bonus gift. So there you go. I'll put in the PayPal description when I go through the chat. So there you go.
All right. Yeah, and I know you mentioned when you messaged me back earlier, you said you'd be coming in after Ice Cream Social. How'd that go for you today?
Oh yeah, man! I had lots of ice cream. I had let's see, almonds pistachio. I had some homemade peach ice cream. It started to melt, so it's more like a peach shake in your cup. And I had some some Dr. Pepper vanilla, vanilla swirl, and some lemon homemade ice cream. It was really good. I got full, so I might as well not have dinner. I'm so full right now.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you'd like to share before we move on?
No, we'll share a little later. Let's hear the metal. It's the
Yeah, that's
metal,
what. Well,
everybody.
that's where I was going. I was going to give Metal a chance to introduce and share any
Yes,
links you'd like for the
Put the
channel.
pedal
Oh, yeah.
to the metal.
I
metal.
just finished dinner myself. Had a nice big bowl of spaghetti tonight. But,
Ooh, damn,
hi,
that's
I'm the
awesome.
metal. These days, I run two different outlets, sort of. My story fiction outlet, comics, prose, xdynamuschaos.com, where you can read a whole bunch of stuff within the same kind of sort of connected universe, though. If you find one thing you like, they're not that connected. You can enjoy the story you like on its own. You don't have to get into everything else. And the other thing that I run is the Vomitorium, which is kind of a topical, I wouldn't necessarily say news that we talk about news. It's more of like a commentary and review network that we've been expanding into more written art pieces too. I've been writing some myself over on the Vomitorium Bulletin, which I don't have a dedicated domain for yet. It's just a WordPress site, but there's both the sites, and I don't know. I try to stay busy.
Yeah. Well, I know you're in the middle of a move too, right?
Maybe. Actually, that started to get crazy. We might end up staying here after all, which I wasn't aware of until like the last minute.
Oh wow! All right. Well, if you can keep me apprised, because I would like to get you back into the rotation soon. I'm down to
Yeah.
like 3 people in that co-host rotation right now, so I'm gonna need obviously gonna try to get some people back or what have you.
I am probably going to be moving locations from where I normally stream, though. I might end up in a completely different room of the house. So I'm not like unpacking yet. I'm like, well, if I am going to be moving rooms, it'd be easier to move it if I leave everything packed until I change rooms. But it's like, oh, I got everything packed up. Now I got to unpack everything.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anyways, so now with all the intros out of the way, until of course we have anybody else who may show up, why don't we go ahead and get back to what we were talking about here? And just let you guys know, I did find some stuff that wasn't like laugh at the SJWs category. Doing something a little different this week. So what before you two came in, we're going over this article from Bounding into Comics in regards to Voyage Comics. They were planning to digitally remaster treasure chest of fun and fact to teach our children old-fashioned American values.
And we got through the first 2 paragraphs.
Right. So, Rick, you want to tell them what we read so far?
It's just basically saying how it got started and a bit about what it was about. Basically, comes down to a scholastic version of comic books by the Catholic Church in starting in their mid 1940s.
Yeah.
So it's basically sort of a Christian comic book.
Yeah. So the book was called Treasure Chest of Fun and Fact. The series had a run of 508 issues between 1946 and 1972, with contributors including Frank Borth, Bob Powell, Reed Crandall, Joe Sinnott, Murphy Anderson, and Jim Mooney. And then
I don't recognize any of those names.
I do. I know all of them. Oh yeah, those old school guys, man.
Yeah, and look. So this is a sample of the panel from that book right there. So, and from the looks of the story, it looks like it's a nun, I guess, interacting with a couple of the kids and maybe telling a biblical story there.
It looks like they might be talking about more after. Just catching, like throw them to the lions. So
throw them to the lions.
Yeah.
Thumbs down.
Yeah. Most of the issues were digitized by the Catholic University of America, but the series has been out of print. Voyage Comics has already begun the process of bringing the comics back to print, and announced they are, quote, remastering the entire collection of Treasure Chest Fun and Fact and publishing them in physical collected volumes, unquote. In a press release, the publisher revealed they've already begun the process of remastering the collection by sharing a scanned page and a remastered page. The process of remastering the books, quote, requires extracting the inks from the scanned images and then recoloring each page, unquote.
Yeah.
So I guess here a comparison between Voyage Comics remastered and the original. So I guess the remastered version's on the left there, and the original's on the right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
This
Look
sounds
at how
like a more
much brighter the
complicated.
remastered version is, huh?
Yeah, this sounds like a more complicated process than it is, but I could easily do this. It's just time consuming. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, you have a better print on much more higher quality paper. The colors are gonna pretty much flow
Yeah.
out a little better, more saturation.
Yeah, it's a question of some of the colors. I'm like for the one guy there with the blonde hair. They chose a greenish color. I'm not sure whether it was supposed to be green or blue. Looking at the original there,
Oh,
but
definitely some type of turquoise. Like it's easily some type of
Yeah.
turquoise. Yeah.
I see that.
Well, I know Rick can tell you guys from experience from his experiences of co-hosting my Friday historical comic retrospect, how we've seen some of that even in the even back in the 30s there, we'd have some coloring, some interesting coloring aspects to some of those golden age comics.
But overall, I'd say it looks good. I think it looks a lot more brighter, vibrant.
Right.
Although, some ways it looks vibrant, but there's just with that vibrancy, there seems something wrong with it. Just because I think that you're not expecting that for the age. Maybe it's
Oh,
just because
yeah.
there's not a lot of shadows or whatever in it.
Yeah. Yeah, coloring nowadays in these current mainstream books, they don't add a lot of ink. I noticed that. Just all this is color and little gradations of some screen tones and this and that. But I love the old school shadows and inks. I mean, it just really just stands out so much better when it's colored.
Yeah. Go back up to where you can see it again there.
Yeah, they do shading with the inks, but there's no
Yeah.
like shading of the colors and all that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like
Yeah, because of
putting
printing
different
limitations
colors,
of the time.
which is
Yeah.
I guess just on that bright white paper, it really um pops. I'm not
But
sure
I'm sure though that if we were to somehow find ourselves being able to time travel back to 1946 when this comic came out, I'm
Yeah.
sure that the one on the right there will look just as bright and white as the one on the left there.
No.
no,
Slightly not,
because
because
they
it's
didn't have
newsprint.
they didn't print it on
Yeah.
white paper.
Yeah. Well, this is actually a problem I have with this coloring here. If you're looking at it, there are empty spots on the newsprint that are clearly supposed to be white, but it just ends up kind of the same color of paper. It looks brighter than the paper itself because of what's surrounding it. But then when you come over, like the collars around their neck are clearly supposed to be white. But then they make the collar the same color as the newsprint on the remastered version instead of white like the paper behind it.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, I can see that now, especially for the guy with the collar and the red uniform.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, Voyage Comics publisher Philip Kozlowski explained the reason behind remastering and publishing physical copies of Treasure Chest of Fun and Fact. Quote, we want to not only preserve this treasure, but also to share it with our own children. Unquote. Would you guys say that that's treasure right there?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
share it with your kids. If your kids know more about the Bible, I think it's great.
And history too, because They do
Yeah.
more than history. Yeah, probably more Christian history, but you know.
Right.
He added, quote, "We believe that Treasure Chest contains a wealth of content that can teach our children old-fashioned American values with an emphasis on the beauty and grandeur of the Catholic faith." Unquote. You know, um, and then here's another set of panels from the book right here from the original.
The one guy looks a little bit like King Randor. The the fourth panel.
Oh yeah, the one with the red hair and beard.
Yeah,
Huh.
red or brown with the crown and all that.
Who's
King
King
Although,
Randor from He-Man. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah. Although you
Oh,
gotta look from these two panels, panel 3 to panel 4. He goes from a green cloak or whatever
mhm.
garment to blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
But we've seen
yeah.
that before, haven't we, Rick?
Yeah,
Though they were still doing that even in 1946.
yeah, making mistakes.
Well, a lot of it could be just the printing itself.
Yeah,
Didn't have
it's
enough
probably a
dots in
printing
it.
machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you only have 3 colors in
Mhm.
printing, so it has to be some combination of the yellow and cyan to get you green. And if they don't have their math right, it's just going to end up cyan again.
Yep.
All right. So, as we continue on here, Voyage Comics aims to have the first volume, which includes 6 issues from 1946, to be published by August 15th, 2023. So, they'll be having the first of their remastered volumes here will be out like in a couple months here. Well, I guess now just under a couple months. So something to look forward to, people.
Nice.
For those who wish to reserve a copy of the first volume, Voyage Comic has launched a crowdfunding campaign on their website. The cost to reserve the first volume is $25. Voyage
That's not
Comics is
too bad.
aiming.
Yeah, it's about average, right?
Voyage Comics is aiming to raise $6,000. They have currently raised $450.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I
that's
guess if
actually
it's
pretty
something you
good
guys are
because
into, you guys can go ahead and check that out, huh?
yeah,
Mhm.
I was gonna say that's probably pretty good because comics back then were probably quite a few pages, and it says the first 6 issues. So
Mhm.
you're probably looking at a 300 to 400, probably around 300-page comic.
Yeah, I think at that point it had dropped in 46. I don't know if it dropped down to 48 pages as of yet. It still might have been 64 pages, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
but still 48 times 6, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it does count.
40 and 40, 288 total pages of content.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's close to the 300. I was gonna say 4, but
Yeah.
again, I wasn't sure the exact same thing that you were mentioning, the page count, whether it had dropped yet any or not.
Yeah, because what did I just amaze you, Apex, with my math ability there?
That's great. Good job, sir.
So yeah, they even did a bit of course, a number of companies did this too, where they'd have, they'd adapt Robin Hood into their pages as well. There's another company that,
Yeah. The only thing I would think, I get that they're doing it on their own thing, but that they don't probably have enough people knowing about it. So I think they would have been better off doing it on a regular crowdfunding site.
Yeah. Some more traction. Yeah, like your usual 2, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, that sort of thing. Or Fund My Comic, or try to
yeah,
get that thing on the roll.
yeah. Well, the thing is too, maybe again, maybe it's one of those things where Indiegogo and Kickstarter's reputation precedes them in such a way that maybe these people just didn't want to deal with them, and
Yeah.
especially when obviously from what we've seen, Indiegogo
For
Indiegogo
comic,
and
but for
Kickstarter seem
comics,
to have a bias against conservative Christian
Yeah,
and all
I
that.
Yeah.
think Indiegogo and Kickstarter are afraid of the Bible, and they're afraid they might burn, even
Yeah.
looking at it, and so there's like they'll probably just turn it down. And so
Well,
funded
Yeah.
I
comic
mean,
will
well,
Well,
I mean,
actually
well, think
snatch
about
it
it.
up and
Think about it.
get it.
I'm sure you guys know Leviticus 18:22, right?
yeah. But I would say it's probably not that with this company. I doubt that this company would know that information. That's more, I think, a thing that most of us indies know, and
Yeah.
quote unquote, maybe even just more those around the comic skate stuff
Hmm.
that would know a little bit more about their biases.
Right.
Do you plan on reserving your copy of the first remastered version of Treasure Chest and Chest
The
Fighter?
only problem here is do they have a link to the page for it? Which is it Voyage Comics website that you have to go to?
Mm.
Ah,
Pedro,
Duh, duh.
Because I wouldn't mind checking it out even on their page and seeing,
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't.
shipping.
Yeah, you might have to look the Voyage Comics site up because I don't think they do actually have. They didn't put a link into the. But I know I know because I've covered. I think there have been some other stories in regards to Voyage Comics. They do seem to be like a company, another company that's kind of trying to do more of a positive, pro-conservative, pro-Christian alternative to some of what's out there.
Mm.
That you know that strikes me a bit there. So, anyways, how do you guys like that article?
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Kind of a nice
here we go.
change of
I
pace
found the
from
I found the
like what
direct
we've
link.
been doing the
Here we
last
go.
few weeks.
Oh, Metal found it.
I put it in the
All
chat
right.
for you. There's the people can click on it. There's the actual link. If you scroll down, it even shows where you can click which one you want to reserve, how you want to back it, write a comment.
All right.
Thank you,
There
Metal.
you go. Mm-hmm.
Hot dang.
Yeah, I found their site easy enough. I
That's
don't
good.
see
All right.
the
So,
crowdfunding.
Well, Rick, that is why one of us offers information broking services and the other doesn't.
Yeah.
all right.
They even have a superhero, the Phantom Phoenix.
Phantom Phoenix, really? Huh.
All
For
right. So now I'm going to set up, and the next story I think I'll be doing here, Metal. You'll probably be into quite a bit because it's in regards to a release of I guess, an anime adaptation of a Akira Toriyama.
Oh, are we
And
going
it's
to
not
Sandland?
Dragon Ball, by the way. It's
Are
something
we going to
else.
Sandland?
That's what I was referring to. Yeah.
His completely underrated and overlooked story that is not just getting an anime adaptation finally, but also a video game adaptation too. Like
Yeah.
they're going all in on Sandland, like they forgot it or something.
Oh, man. Good. Big San Martin.
These particular articles are from like a couple weeks ago, so that's why it's taken me a while to get to them.
I understand. Gotta find it.
Yeah, if you see me constantly wiping off my forehead, it's
Well, you're down there in Texas, aren't you? It's got to be, summer just started. It's got to be.
Oh
slow.
yeah, and I'm in a garage, so.
Oh my God, you're burning up. You have a fan?
Oh yeah, I've got one for my computer.
Holy
So my computer doesn't
shite,
die.
man. Dude, you're hot.
Dude, I've been
there.
in Texas for like 30 years. I'm kind of used to the temperature, but I am worried about
Yeah,
my computer.
holy mackerel, dude. I hope you get like a ceiling fan on top where you're at. That'd be awesome. Oh, you do. Nice. Smart man. Thank God. Wow.
I've got this one over here too, but I can't have that on while I'm on mic. So as soon as we're done with the show, that's going right back on.
Right. Holy mackerel.
All right, so you guys ready for me to go over the next article here?
Do it.
All right. So Akira Toriyama's Sandland to receive video game adaptation from Bandai Namco and in smaller quotes here, One Piece Odyssey, unquote, developer Ilka. Article by Nerdicans Inc., published June 13, 2023, anime, manga, video game section. So, and I'm sure that Metal will have quite a few things to say because apparently he's well aware of this story already, I guess.
Oh yeah, I love Toriyama.
Yeah. 2023 is shaping up to be the year of Sandland, as just a few months after the announcement that the Akira Toriyama manga would be receiving a theatrical anime film, Bandai Namco Entertainment has officially confirmed Beelzebub and crew are also on track to make their video game debut. And that's Beelzebub right there, right?
Yeah, so he's the main character of Sandland. Basically Sandland's almost like a post-apocalyptic world in a way. It's very, very heavily inspired by Mad Max, but it is a desert world where humans and demons live amongst each other, and demons aren't necessarily bad in that world.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the Japanese
kind of like
influence
Yu Yu
of
Hakusho, right?
Kind of, yeah, because the Japanese don't really have demons in their history, though they're obviously borrowing from Judeo-Christian culture for their iconography. They have more of the Oni is their closest relation to demons, and Oni aren't always bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see. Actually, one of the things that kind of caught my attention with this too is it reminded me of another anime I had watched a while back, years ago, Desert Punk.
Oh yeah, I've seen Desert Punk. That is a very lewd anime.
Yeah.
So
And then
Oni
there's
would just
there's
probably.
another one that has a desert setting in it where that the girl with the third eye is another one where it's another one that where you have the main characters who seem to be traveling across a desert.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like with Desert Punk, it actually still takes place in Japan. They take their setting and they take basically the Kanto Valley, and they fast forward it like so many years that it's completely dried up and become a desert.
All right, so
I was gonna just say, so the Oni are basically you could just say angels in general, and some are bad, some are good.
No,
I would say
not
angels.
like that. They're closer to in old Jewish culture, the Shadim, which are like spirits of nature, but they're not quite like anything else, or like the Jinn in Arabic culture, where they exist. They're not necessarily trustworthy, but not all of them are necessarily out to get you either.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I remember from Yu Yu Hakusho the way they had the ogre Onis run around the office there in their loincloths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those ones were basically just afterlife bureaucrats, which is why they weren't bad people. There's like, no,
I mean, think about that. Think about that. The funny, like a 50, 60-year-old looking Oni with glasses on and a little horn coming out of his head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ogre would be the closest translation to the word Oni as well, even though a lot of people would like to paint them like they're demons.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, revealed during the June 8th opening ceremony of the 2023 Summer Games Fest, and coming from Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and One Piece Odyssey developer Ilka, the eponymously named Sandland will allow players to relive the story of Toriyama's dystopian manga from an action RPG perspective. What do you think of that, Metal?
Well, I think an action RPG is probably the best way to do it, given the storyline. I do like ILCA. Their name, nobody calls them by their name. They've been around since 2010. It's I love computer art is what the acronym stands for. And they've been involved in a few games, usually as a supporting developer somewhere else. Like they helped with Mario Kart 8, Dragon Quest 11. They helped develop Pokemon Home, and obviously the other two that were mentioned in there. They're very short gamography in the time they've been around, but they're pretty good at what they do. So I think this is probably a good idea.
Well, would you say that on this project they might be the primary as opposed to supporting?
Yes, for sure. They were the primary people to adapt Diamond and Pearl into Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and they were the primary people for the One Piece game. So they've been getting more primary work instead of just being a supporting developer as of late.
All right, so let's continue on here. Per its first trailer, players will take control of Beelzebub as they roam around the Sandland, either on foot in a number of customized tank and walker vehicles, the latter of which appear to function similarly to how such options did in the Borderlands franchise. In terms of combat, the trailer indicates the players will fight from vehicles in a third-person shooter gameplay style, whilst engaging in more traditional action combat on foot. Sounds pretty interesting, huh, there, Metal?
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea. Like I said, Sandland has kind of like a Mad Max setting, and I'm a big fan of Borderlands, so I think using their vehicle options as a kind of guideline would be great for that setting because they're kind of Mad Max in that way too. And then there was combat in the manga, so it's great to have that kind of like action combat while still on foot.
Yeah.
All right, so continuing on here. Quote, dive into a desert world where both humans and demons suffer from an extreme water shortage, unquote, reads the game's official synopsis. Quote, play as and watch the Fiend Prince, Beelzebub, Sheriff Rao, and Demon Thief set off on an adventure in search of a legendary spring hidden in the desert. Introducing himself as a smaller quote, super evil fiend, unsmaller quote, Beelzebub has a pure heart like a little boy, but has superhuman strength and telepathic abilities. Now, I know, we're trying to get away from laughing at the SJWs, laughing at the stupid, as it were, but
Yeah.
it's another one of those characters we've talked quite a bit about, right? Where a lot of these people would think of him because he looks like a child, he therefore must be a child, even though he's hundreds of years old, probably knows more about things than
Well, in this case, he is very much supposed to be seen as a child. Like from his perspective, he is a child, right? Like he's still a little prince, quote unquote. So it wouldn't be too bad to look at him like he's a child. That's how the story treats him when you're reading it, right? Another thing I wanted to point out, I forgot to mention with the vehicles, is I think focusing on that, like the manga did, is a good idea. I think one of Toriyama's strongest suits was his vehicle and mech, like robot designs, right? And those kind of get left to the side in later Dragon Ball. But earlier on, he was always drawing interesting, like spaceships, hover cycles, walker mechs and stuff. So it's going to be really cool to look at a series and game that focuses heavily on that part of his artistic prowess.
Yeah.
Apex, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I don't. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. And Rick, you're back.
Yep.
Just before you came back, I caught the private chat. Okay, so let's see. Let me just see where we're at here. Okay. Pure heart like a little boy, but has superhuman strength and telepathic abilities. Rao, a small town sheriff, seeks the aid of demons to save all of Sandland from the water shortage. Thief, a wise old demon with thieving abilities, also accompanies Beelzebub and Rao on their adventure. Yeah, the thief with thieving abilities, it kind of reminded me of an isekai anime I just watched recently.
Hello, JR.
Now, but anyways,
JR's in the chat.
JR.
JR Exner. Hey, JR.
What's happening?
Hail Zeno and Zeno. I'm late, and I have missed so much.
Have I missed much?
Oh.
I have. Oh yeah, I have missed so much.
Watch the rewind.
Yeah. I guess that's what replays are for, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, as we continue on here, and I thank you guys for the likes and share. If you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer them to the best of our ability. So, anyways, on with the article here. Playing as Beelzebub, players will be able to explore a vast world accompanied by his unlikely group of demons and humans, unquote. It further details, quote, whether roaming in various vehicles or traveling by foot, players will encounter dangers as well as helpful characters they meet in the vast desert while uncovering Sandland's many secrets. Vehicular and character combat is a big part of the action in the game. Players will have access to a variety of vehicles that they can customize and equip with loadouts to traverse the desert, overcome obstacles, and take on a diverse assortment of mighty foes. Unquote.
I could see George Miller directing a live version of this. That would rock.
I could too. Yeah.
Whoever
I don't know
George
if I want
Miller
him
is.
Oh,
Oh,
that was so badass. Oh.
Mad Max.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
It's clearly inspired by it. There's been a lot of stuff in manga inspired by Mad Max. Obviously, like you said, Desert Punk. Fist of the North Star is probably one of the most popular things inspired by Mad Max.
Mm-hmm.
So, upon release, the Bandai Namco published Sandland will be available on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, XS, and Windows platforms. But as of writing, the game has yet to receive any sort of official release window. Meanwhile, the series' aforementioned film adaptation is set to peel out into Japanese theaters on August 18th.
Cool.
Yeah, also a note there for anybody listening who might not understand what one of those were. A lot of games articles and journalists do this. Abounding, I guess they do it too.
Hold my
they just
beer.
shorten the Xbox X and Xbox S to just XS. And a lot of people don't ever get that abbreviation. That's just the most recent Xbox generation.
Yeah, I thought that's what it might have been.
I just read it. I didn't, All right. So that's it for that article. How did you guys like that article?
Good.
Very nice. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just excited to play it. I have been for, I think it was first announced 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, yes, please, whenever it comes out, let me know.
Let it know.
Yeah. So now we're coming up on the 1 hour mark here. We got through about two of the three articles that I picked out for tonight. Again, trying to get away from the let's laugh at the stupid. Yeah,
if it's a slow news day, I'm not against it for doing it. It's just like, there's got to be something more interesting most of the time.
It has to be.
I'll just go to show you too. My whole, granted, I do cover a lot of them just because those seem to be a lot more out there. But I do try to also cover more positive stuff like release stuff and stuff like what
I don't blame you. It's one of the reasons why I mostly cover video game stuff and film. Those are the things I can get the most articles out of. You know?
Yeah.
There was one more article, and it had to do with Transformers and GI Joe finding
Oh.
new homes. And
Okay.
just to let you know, I don't know if you guys saw this. They did an article. We won't do it here, obviously, but about Cartoon Network featuring 2 non-binary characters in new episodes of We Baby Bears series.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
it that spin-off of We Bear Bears?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, it's
I mean, that
Cartoon
show
Network
was-
going woke again. Oh,
That
dumb.
show was already kind
They've
of
been
borderline
woke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well, I think you just missed it.
No wonder I don't watch Cartoon
No.
Network.
It said Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. It said about G.I.
No,
Joe.
that's not the article I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
We'll find it.
I'm
soon
sure he'll
enough.
recognize the thumbnail.
Yeah.
There it is.
Da-da.
Look at that classic look of Optimus Prime, guys.
Oh, I like it.
Kind of shattered and torn.
Yeah. Nice.
Harkens back to Transformers the movie, doesn't it?
Mhm.
You know, from his death scene there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Transformers and G.I. Joe find new comic book home at Skybound with new quote-unquote Energon universe. Now, as you guys know, IDW had these properties for quite a while until they started going woke and essentially ran the franchise's good name into the ground to the point to where Hasbro said, "Enough of this BS. We're IDW, get the hell out!" Right?
I wonder what they're gonna. With that said, I wonder what they're gonna do about this new Transformers cartoon. With that, putting in some of the wokeness.
I'm gonna leave the wokeness out. They're smart.
Yeah, but these people will never learn, you know, and they apparently don't seem to care if they don't make any money off of it, you know, because it's more about the message than anything else. More about, but anyway,
it also depends
message-
on the studio, right? And I mean, with Hasbro, that means like 80% of the studios they work with will probably try to put their woke message in there. But you know, there's a dice roll. You might get the 20% that don't. Hopefully, probably not.
Yeah, right. The message
now, one of the
doesn't
things
make
that I was
money.
reading this article earlier this week and stuff like that, or this past week, one of the things that did grab my attention about it is apparently now they are going to solidify the connection between Transformers and G.I. Joe and kind of put it all in one universe.
Mm.
Yeah, that would go with the movie that I just watched.
Yeah.
The Rise of the Beast.
Yeah. So anyway, the Transformers and G.I. Joe have a new comic book home at Skybound with the launch of a new Energon universe. According to a press release, the new Energon universe was revealed in Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo De Felici's Void Rivals #1, with the appearance of Jetfire. Void Rivals sees 2 pilots crash land on a desolate planet as war rages. Quote, around the sacred ring remnants of 2 worlds have collapsed around a black hole in a never-ending war, unquote. The 2 pilots must work together to escape the planet as, quote, dark forces await that threaten the entire universe, unquote. Along with Void Rivals #1, Skybound will publish a brand new Transformers series in October from creators Daniel Warren Johnson and colorist Mike Spicer.
Oh, Daniel Warren Johnson. Hell yeah. That'll make some money.
Yeah.
He did Beta Ray Bill for Marvel and it rocked.
And I take it from your positive comment there, he's not a SJW.
He's not a Wookiee, no. He's an great artist.
We won't have to worry about the woke BS with him, right?
No, shouldn't.
All right.
Well, the
The
question
GI
is, does he also write?
Yeah,
does
because
write.
it just says
Yeah.
creator.
He does
Creator
write.
That's good.
Daniel Warren.
Oh, yeah. He's based.
Doesn't say, oh, good, that he's hopefully will be writing it as well.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
All right. The G.I. Joes launch in December with Duke #1 from Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley, and Jordy Belair. Now, Joshua Williamson, I've seen his name quite a bit. I've got mixed messages on whether or not he's woke or not. You got Apex. Can you enlighten me a bit on that?
I'm sorry. I was in the middle of drawing. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What was the
Oh
question?
wait, I know Joshua Williamson. He's doing the Dawn of DC Superman, which I read the 4 of those, and I actually liked a Superman comic for like the first time in a decade.
Okay. I'm not.
I
Yeah,
was
okay.
wondering if you guys knew anything about. I've heard mixed reviews where he might be woke, he might not be woke.
He just
I
likes to do
don't
like
know.
middle of the road comics, like just middle of the road action style comics. The Dawn of the DC Superman. You saw the other super family in there for like a split second, almost like editorials like you have to shove him in there somewhere. But he like immediately sidelined him, so you didn't have to deal with current Jonathan Kent or anything like that.
Oh,
And it was
God.
just like a normal Superman comic, the way you wanted it to be.
Yay. Good.
I take that response, Apex, as to the Jonathan Kent comment, right?
Yeah. You don't see that in my collection.
Jonathan Bent.
Over.
Yeah, I give him the pass so far. I'll have to wait. There's only 4 issues out of Dawn of DC Superman, but the 4 I've read have been pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
All right. So, anyways, finally, Cobra Commander #1 arrives in January 2024 from Joshua Williamson, Andrea Milana, and Annalisa Leone. I guess this is the cover for Void Rivals right here. Quote, it's a tremendous honor to be able to reintroduce the world to a new audience under the Skybound banner, unquote, said Robert Kirkman. Quote, I'd love these characters of my life and to have the opportunity to add to the already rich tapestry Hasbro has built with the all-new Void Rivals is an incredible opportunity. And from when I've done my when I've looked back and done my This Day in Each History segment, I've seen that there have been like older like Transformers and G.I. Joe comics that were done by I think Marvel and DC in the past.
Well,
too.
Marvel, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of them.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Back in the time, Larry Hama writing them. Really good.
Kirkman added, quote, if you look at everything done with Transformers and G.I. Joe, you can see the inkling of a vast universe with tremendous potential for crossovers and interaction that will enhance the fan experience while staying true to the individual identities of both concepts. I look forward to exploring that potential for years to come.
Yeah. Well, of course you can because they've already done it several times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hasbro's vice president of global publishing, Michael Kelly, shared, quote, when we first discussed plan for the surprise reveal in Void Rivals #1, I never expected it would be a secret we could keep for over a year, unquote. Quote, now that it is finally here, we are all excited to finally be able to talk about all the amazing stories to come from our great new partners at Skybound, unquote. He added. There's Optimus again.
Yeah, it's the same picture earlier. Transformers #1 2023 Skybound.
Oh yeah.
As for what comic book readers can expect from the Energon universe, the Transformers series sees the Autobots and Decepticons crash land on Earth and renew their war with the fate of Cybertron is unknown. While the fate of Cybertron is unknown. The press release notes, quote, as these titanic forces renew their war on Earth, one thing is incredibly clear. The planet will never be the same. New alliances are struck, battle lines are redrawn, and humanity's only hope of survival is Optimus Prime. Unquote. Daniel Warren Johnson commented, quote, to my readers, retailers, and fellow Transformer fans, get ready! I've only been drawing Optimus Prime and the rest of the amazing cast since I was in first grade.
That should rock.
Notice how I emphasize that when they're all caps like that?
First grade.
This is a dream project for me, and I'm so glad to be adding a new chapter to the decades-long celebration of robots turning into cars. Also, cab over trucks are so fun to draw. Unquote. A la Optimus.
See, he's putting his passion behind it. That should rock solid. That should be a great book.
Mm-hmm. Duke #1, as described as a limit series, and will showcase the origins of G.I. Joe and Cobra. Quote, in a world grappling with the arrival of the Autobots and Decepticons, when Conrad S. Hauser, codenamed Duke, First Sergeant Conrad S. Hauser, investigates the mysteries behind the Transformers. The answers will lead to the birth of forces for good and evil that would never that the world never imagined. Now, before I continue on here, this does remind me of a little tidbit I heard about. So, okay, you guys remember Transformers the movie and G.I. Joe the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one, I don't think I've ever seen G.I. Joe the movie.
Okay, well, G.I. Joe the movie, had them going to Cobra, la 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 la, and where they
Cobra!
Burgess Meredith, the voice Globulus, and
Yes. Well, that's basically where they brought Serpentor in, right?
Right. Well, Serpentor was brought in during the second season of the 1985 G.I. Joe cartoon, and then
I thought it was in the movie, or was that with him in it, and then the movie made it brung Cobra Commander back?
Okay.
It's been a while since I saw that.
The G.I. Joe movie we're talking about is after the second season of the animated series. It was revealed during the movie that Globulus actually was the one who inspired Dr. Mindbender to create Serpentor. It was also revealed that Cobra Commander was originally from Cobra Law.
Oh.
Okay. But to the point I was getting at, between G.I. Joe, the movie, and now, as you guys know, Transformers movie was the one that was theatrically released and had the famous or infamous, depending upon your viewpoint, the death of Optimus Prime in it, which caused a lot of controversy. I mean, the movie itself that was the main controversy, and then of course the other little controversy was, for the first time in history, you had in a kids movie one of the characters actually swearing in it.
Oh
wow. But there was a lot of controversy behind it. It got with it getting a lot of the negative responses to Optimus's death. Initially, now what ended up happening is G.I. Joe the movie ended up becoming a TV movie. Originally, they were going to make that a theatrical release, but a couple of issues came. One, they got behind and therefore couldn't get it out on time. Two, they were, there was a scene very early in G.I. Joe the movie where Duke was seriously injured, and there was talk that originally in the G.I. Joe movie they were going to kill off Duke.
Oh wow!
but they ended up having to change it because of the negative response they got to Optimus's
Yeah.
death.
His death, huh? Yeah.
And now I had wrote kind of a review I think on years ago on I think it was TV.com about Transform. I gave I wrote a piece about why about why I believe Optimus's death scene got
Negative reviews.
response. Now you guys, I'm sure you all watched the original Transformers series like I did growing up, right?
Oh yeah, watch some of it.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. So as I look back on it and I rewatch it today and stuff like that, from time to time, one of the things I can remember when you look at how Optimus Prime interacts, not just with his troops, with the other Autobots, but even with his human characters, particularly with the younger ones like Spike and stuff. Here's my thoughts on that. In some ways, the way they made Optimus Prime in the cartoon, he seemed like a father figure to a lot of the younger Autobots and a lot of the younger characters. He seemed much like a father figure, and I think the idea of when they killed him off in the movie, I think really did hit home with a lot of kids, because here you have this guy who they're painting as a father figure, right? He's the leader of the Autobots, he's a commander, but he's also kind of a father figure. And it's like, okay, you kill him off in the movie, and it's like killing off your father.
Dad. Yeah. What the hell?
It's like, I think that's why it's got such a negative reaction, because the way they paint him this father figure in this kids movie. You kill off this tremendous father figure voiced by Peter Cullen, and I think that's why it had such a negative effect. Had a negative response.
Even though in context, right, that's just how it would feel for the people watching. In context, though, for a lot of the Autobots, it's more like they killed their brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those kids, you killed their daddy, and they didn't like that. So it's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never had a problem with that part because I watched it late. You can ask Rick. I watched it with him. I never saw the movie for a long time. The first time I watched it was with Rick and I think his Discord. And my problem with the movie was more of like, why are there all of these pop music songs interjected into the movie? Other than that, I liked it, but it's like if you took all the music out, I probably would have liked the movie so much better.
Well, I think to add a little more pizzazz to it, but I like the soundtrack. That the touch in particular is I think is
I
a
like
very
the songs. I just don't like that they're in the movie.
Yeah. Well, I think it was almost, I was going to say The Thing back then, but so maybe if you were the age of whatever to watch it when it actually came out, the music wouldn't bug you so much being in, but
right.
I can see how it can.
Rick makes a good point there too. Is that a lot of 80s music, a lot of 80s movies, a lot of like popular 80s movies, even some going into the early 90s, the music, they would have a lot of catchy tunes. I mean, I know.
I watched a lot of the movies. It's just like, I don't know, for some films, like watching what is essentially a underdog sports story, like Karate Kid or Rocky or something, all the music being in there kind of works. For me, watching this like animated movie that is supposed to be this like celestial battle in the stars, it's like it's just not working for me, like at all.
now of course, as I mentioned earlier too, aside from that one big controversy about Optimus Prime being killed off, the other bit of controversy that happened when the movie first came out was an utterance of a swear word,
or a sort of swear word at the time.
What did he
the
say?
Word that was said was shit.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
It's kind of strong back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, it was uttered by Spike when Unicron was catching up to them all. And he goes, "Oh shit!" Now, for a movie, particularly for that time, and for the fact that the movie was being kind of directed at being marketed towards kids, that would have been a big deal. It kind of got caught on it. It kind of like went just under the radar, though. It's like
Yeah. I must
Right.
admit, I didn't hear about that controversy. I didn't hear about actually either controversy myself. But then
Hmm.
again, I wasn't watching TV or whatever a lot back then. Not
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
didn't want to. It's just where
Well,
I
I
lived.
didn't even know about it until much later, Rick. And the reason I know about it is because, of course, I looked into it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, anyways, good conversation going too on that. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. The series is expected to be the first of 4 G.I. Joe limited series from Skybound, with the press release promising a, quote, fresh new take on G.I. Joe, Cobra, and the iconic characters that you only think you know, unquote.
Yeah. It sounds like they're putting some of these things half into the movies.
Mm.
I don't want to give too many spoilers, but there is an end scene that involves G.I. Joe, I won't say how, in The Rise of the Beast.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Go see the movie.
Williamson shared, quote, childhood dreams come true. Get hyped. Tom and I are bringing you a new take on Duke and the formation of G.I. Joe that honors all that we love about the characters, but takes it into a new and exciting direction. Unquote. Now, here's another interesting little note going back to the older series from the 80s, right? Here's
Yeah.
one of the other things that I read about that I heard about. So, you guys remember from the 3rd season of Transformers when it was like
Yeah.
Optimus Prime, and you remember the character Marissa Fairborn?
Not really, but what about her?
Marissa Fairborn was kind of a member of the military who was featured in a few of the episodes. Well, she's it was led to believe that she was actually the daughter of Flint and Lady J.
Oh, okay.
Flint's real name is Dashiell R. Fairborn, and Lady J was Allison Hart Burnett. Anyways, he added.
She was also sometimes called Marissa Bishop.
He added. T's, and I guess they forgot the I there or something like that. T's been awesome. Okay, I guess it's supposed to be I. It's been awesome working with Skybound and Hasbro to bring this new take on G.I. Joe franchise. So a little typo there. For the last few years, I've been picking up all of the new GI classified figures, so I am pumped to contribute to this new world of G.I. Joe and Transformers, unquote. And there's the Baroness, played by Ursula Cordero, in
Oh,
Snake
from
Eyes
G.I.
G.I.
Joe
Joe Origins.
Origins, Snake
Yeah.
Eyes. That would be this movie.
What do you guys think of her as the Baroness there?
Looks decent enough to be the
It's
Baroness.
all right.
As I understand it, Baroness's real name was Anastasia Sizrovna. I think she, as depicted in the franchise, I guess she's middle, middle European.
Well, she's supposed to be Russian, of course, but she's also supposed to be a wealthy Russian, from what I know.
Yeah. Okay, so as for Cobra Commander, the press release explains, quote, in a world where Cobra doesn't exist, one man's sinister plans to utilize a mysterious alien substance known as Energon will send shockwaves across the globe, unquote. Senior Vice President and publisher of Skybound, Sean Makovich, said, quote, my first comic was G.I. Joe, and I couldn't be more excited to unite the Transformers and G.I. Joe into one universe. Albeit they had been dropping hints ever since the original series ran as well. They'd have interesting crossovers there. I think you did have a disguised Cobra Commander in an episode of the third season of GI Joe, and in the second season of GI Joe, you had Sci-Fi at one point watching what looked like a Transformers cartoon. So they were throwing in little.
And then, of course, with Marvel, they did have GI Joe Transformer crossover comic books, and decent size.
Yeah. This line is being guided by the best comic creators in the world and features the same action-packed, surprise-filled, emotional storytelling you expect from all Skybound comics. I don't know. Would you guys say that? What would you guys say to that?
Well,
would you argue that they are the best comic creators in the world?
No, but
I haven't read any of their stuff to say one way or another.
Emotional storytelling, because Skybound's only been around since like 2000. But it's weird to say, because Skybound is basically a part of Image, even though it's not. Like, it's owned by Kirkman, but everything he does with it, like, he prints through Image, he does a lot of crossover stuff with Image. It's basically like Image, not Image. But like a lot of stuff that he's done personally, like Walking Dead, Invincible, there is a lot of like very emotionally intense storytelling in there. So if they want to make that claim, I don't know if it's true, but I'm not going to argue with them trying to make the claim.
Now Kirkman, he's not a wokey, is he?
I don't know.
He's definitely progressive. I don't know if I would say full on woke, but he's always had like progressive themes in his comics.
Yeah, but a lot of the entertainment industry, even from the early '90s, was heavily influenced by progressive ideals. I mean, you got to remember Captain Planet, for example.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh god, I'm glad they're not doing anything with Captain Planet. That would be full woke if they did something
awful
these days.
Oh Lord, that'd suck.
It was pretty awful back then.
Yeah, I didn't really like it either.
Well, it was a bit. I mean, in a way, it was a bit over the top if you really think about it.
That's kind of gay.
I think the thing that stops Kirkman from being full on woke is, even though he definitely agrees with a lot of their ideals and stuff. He definitely even agrees with representation, because he was full on board with them changing Amber in the Invincible TV show. He cares about the story first. And that's where like the dividing line is. It's like, what's more important, the message or the story? He's like, well, the story is obviously the most important part.
So he's not necessarily to the same extreme that Eric Larson is, you'd say.
No. Mm-mm.
He still wants to make sure that there is a good story first and foremost.
That's how he makes money.
Yeah. And he's a storyteller. You know, that's how he got into the business. You know.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
What do you make of this new Energon universe featuring Transformers and G.I. Joe?
I'd just like to know what they mean by Energon universe, because they say that and I think of the Transformers Energon.
The Energizer Bunny. Well, since I think it's Transformers are and G.I. Joe are made by Hasbro, it makes sense to be in the same universe.
That's what I was going to bring up too, and I think they're calling it the Energon universe, because there was always in some of the older G.I. Joe stuff like weirdly powered tech that they never explained how they powered it. So then it's like, oh look, the reason we have such advancements is because we have access to Energon, and that's what helped us make this stuff. And they're just kind of bringing everything together. And from a marketing standpoint, if you have both of them in your department, if we cross them over, we can get the people who like Transformers to buy G.I. Joe stuff, the people who like G.I. Joe to buy Transformers stuff, and we just get more sales overall.
Yeah.
Well, smart. I mean, as you were talking about the technology and science that couldn't be explained from the original cartoons and stuff like that, kind of like the idea of the ever-growing, expanding, explosive crystals that Cobra came up with, that one little crystal could blow up a portion of a cliff.
Yeah. Who's to say that wasn't a modified Energon crystal?
Yeah.
Right.
Or
you could totally explain that.
The materials they used to power up the mass device from the original 5-part movie.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit for them. Like, they're two worlds that always felt like they probably should have been interacting, which is, they have done crossovers before, but like from the beginning, they feel like they should be interacting, and it's just like the peanut butter's on one bread and the jelly's on the other, and for some reason we just never slap them together.
Right.
The only other franchise I think that would probably fit in this is MASS, the mobile whatever it stands for.
Mobile Armored Strike Command.
Yeah.
Just because their vehicles sort of transform.
Yeah, they had like transforming vehicles and bases and stuff like that.
They had, I think, what they called regular mode and assault mode or defense mode.
Is MASS made by Hasbro?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, it wouldn't fit then.
I think they were Kenner. I think they were
Okay,
Kenner.
Kenner. Right. Okay.
Well, technically it would fit. It's just that with it not being made by the same people,
Right.
it's not likely to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to throw in Challenge of the GoBots in there either.
No.
Yeah, I can
Now they're
confirm it was
company
Kenner.
altogether.
Yeah.
Well, GoBots, it's weird for the name and all that thing because Transformers did get part of that because they do have like a kids version of the toy for Transformers GoBots.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But
Challenge
GoBots
of
was
the GoBots
Tonka.
was a different franchise altogether.
Oh yeah, it was. But I'm saying behind the scenes and all that stuff, Transformers
you
has
also
gotten
did in
use of
terms
the
some
name
of
or
the-
whatever a little bit here or there.
I mean, I do know that author Berghardt, I believe, did lend his voice to both series. He was Turbo in Challenge of the GoBots, and then he was Destro. He was Destro and Stalker in G.I. Joe, and then he was Devastator in the
I
Transformers.
can explain to you why they got GoBots use, Rick. Back in 1991, Hasbro bought Tonka for $500 million. So, and GoBots was part of the Tonka brand.
Oh, damn. So I can use GoBots. Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, and there was a episode. I forget which company. I think Dreamwave, where they had Megatron in the arena fighting. That he's supposed to have fought in, and there's a Psykill fight, him versus Psykill.
Oh, damn.
I've got the comic. When I go through them, I'll try and find it and show it.
Nice.
Oh, which actually gives a mass too, because
like-
Kenner was a subsidiary of Tonka at the time. So actually, Hasbro also owns Mask because they own Kenner.
Oh.
So they
Wouldn't
could
that be
technically-
something if they threw all of that, like Transformers, G.I. Joe, GoBots, Mask? Wouldn't that be an interesting?
They closed Kenner down too in 2000. So they still own all of their IPs and stuff. It's just Kenner doesn't exist anymore. It's just part of Hasbro. Technically part of Tonka, because it's like, well, we already have Tonka. We don't need yet another subsidiary of Tonka around.
Yeah. Especially when all it did was do stuff like Mask or whatever, probably.
Right.
Well, Kenner did Mask.
Yeah, well, that's what.
And
but
Tonka
Metal-
owned Kenner,
Mm-hmm.
and then Hasbro owns Tonka now. So they also own
Hello.
Kenner.
Yeah. So they can have the Mask and the GoBots thrown into that universe if they wanted to.
Yeah, if they want to.
Yeah.
Oh, here's an interesting little note going in regards to MASS, Mobile Armored Strike Command. I don't know if you guys had known this or not.
Commander.
So as you guys know, the cartoon was produced by Deke. One of the the guy who voiced Scott Tracker in there was Brennan Thick. Do you know who Brennan Thick is?
That sounds familiar.
Alan Thicke's son? Alan Thicke's brother? I don't
His
know.
older son.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
The older of his two sons. Yeah, Brennan Thick. He got into acting a little bit as a kid. He was the voice of Scott Tracker on Mask. He was also the voice of Dennis the Menace on the Deke produced Dennis the Menace cartoons of the mid to late 80s. And then I think he just kind of got out of it after a while. I think he did become a producer. And then, of course, his more famous son, most people know today, Robin Thicke. Robin, I think, is Brennan's younger brother. So
Yeah.
So and then another guy who is more well known among the voice acting community today, who was also involved with Mask, more in the anime nowadays, more in the anime voice acting community. Doug Stone, who provided voices of a number of characters on that, including Matt Tracker, Bruce Sato, Bruno Shepard, Nash Gorey. He now is a pretty well-known, prolific voice actor in the anime. You can hear his voice as in some supporting roles in a number of different animes, including providing the English voice of Fugaku Uchiha in the Naruto franchise.
Yeah. Oh, he was also Psycho Mantis in Metal Gear Solid.
Psycho Mantis.
Yeah. So.
He could read your mind, but you had to take the controller out of slot 1 and put it into slot 2 so he can no longer read your mind and you could beat him.
Yeah. So how did you guys like the articles I picked for tonight?
I like the last
good
one the best. Yeah, the Transformer G.I. Joe thing. Yeah. I can get
Kind of metal, Rick. Kind of a bit of a refreshing from what we've been covering of late.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did kind of put that more in my mind to try to do that for a panel this week to see if I can find some stuff that wasn't quite as biting. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's normally not. It's not that bad, but it's just like I think it's been like 3 or 4 Sundays in a row that it's been almost all SJW stuff. It was a good change of pace.
Well, I picked those because a lot of times, picking apart their thought process.
Yeah.
I know we can have some good conversations doing that, but I get what you're saying. I got to be maybe a little bit more careful and try to mix it up a little bit better. But
right. No, YouTube's shutting you down.
Huh?
You don't want YouTube shutting you down. Get all offended for no reason.
About that.
They probably don't give a crap.
They don't care.
Well, first off, I don't have enough. I'm not a big enough YouTuber right now.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
But also,
But they were all pretty promising stories this time. Even given like some of the people involved in the last one, it's like, no, I mean, it looks like we'll actually get some good stories for a little bit. That's what I like to see. I would love to see some actually good comics that aren't only from indie developers. I mean, I love the indies. That's been my scene forever, but I want the mainstream to be putting out some good stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, we're at hour 37 here.
Yeah, I gotta go too, man.
Oh, you got to go. I was hoping you'd stick around because I did want to talk to you about something. I wanted to ask you something.
Go ahead and ask.
All right. Okay. So you know that I do the historical comic retrospect on Friday nights, where I have some of the guys come in as co-hosts. We kind of go over like old comics and all that, and we'll do some commentary and all that. I was wondering if you might be interested, because I'm running a little low on co-host right now. I was wondering if you might be interested in becoming part of the rotation where, every 3 weeks I may have you come in and
Friday nights are not really good for me, right? I'm
it's
working.
usually about once a month, once every other month, depending on
depending basically on how many people I have. If I have the ideal 5 to 7 people then it'll be more like once every like 6 weeks or so. It wouldn't be like every week. You'd be part of a rotation. Rick's part of the rotation. Metal's been part of the rotation. He's just kind of out of the rotation right now because he's got moving stuff. I hope to get him back soon. But right now I'm down to like Rick, RJ Carter, and Tim. So
what happened with Mighty Geek?
Well, I hadn't talked to him since his last appearance. So, and of course, I don't have him scheduled yet. I sent him a link, hoping he'd come in tonight, and we could try to get him back into the rotation. But I haven't talked to him. I just hope he doesn't think I'm upset at him for what happened last time. I'm not. I know that stuff happens. But,
Yeah. So Mike's not asking you to commit to every single week. It's
It's just,
yeah, when I first started it, I did have a singular co-host that would co-host with me every week, and he ended up burning out on me. So I figured, I think it was RJ who maybe even suggested that maybe I try kind of rotating.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
To where they don't burn out. I mean,
Nah, don't burn out. Yeah, I get it.
But I was just wondering if you might be interested. Again, it's not every week. Depending on how many people we have in the rotation.
I have to really plan ahead, that sort of thing. So
I can tell you. Well, let's see. The next I can give you my next 2-3 open dates here, and then if you want, you can maybe I can schedule you for. So, the next set of open dates. So, in July, there July 14th, July 28th, August 4th, 11th, and 25th.
Okay. August 25th would be great.
August 25th. Okay.
Yeah.
Bit of a ways off, but hopefully.
Yeah. Hey, at least you got August 25th done now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it gives him plenty of time to plan.
After RJ, and if I have looked ahead correctly, we might actually be even starting December of 1939 by that point.
39. That's a good year. I like that.
Well, let's see. Well, I started out DC this past Friday with RJ. We went over Flash Comics Volume 1, Number 1 this past Friday. Introducing the Flash, Hawkman, the Golden Age versions, Johnny Thunder, and the Whip. So,
yeah, the Whip.
All right. Well, okay. So I'll have you down for August 25th, and then from there, schedule. I'll do like I just did now. Just tell you the next set of days that are available, and then you can just pick one. That could be how
Sounds
it works.
good.
Yeah, I'm going to be on this
hopefully by
Friday.
then, maybe I'll get Metal back into the rotation too, and we'll have at least 5.
Yeah. Maybe by then he'll move into his house, and I guess.
Well, I like I said, I might still be here. It's all confusing at the moment, and also at the end of this next month, during all that, I have to go and house sit for somebody.
Oh wow!
Watch their dogs for like 2 weeks while they're off on vacation.
Oh, you'd be air conditioned. Yeah. Nice.
I will have internet there, so maybe things can work out. I don't know. I'm playing it by
ear.
I'll keep
it's a question of whether you want to take your computer over.
And if you can find,
yeah,
I understand.
I should still be good for Sundays, at least. No.
Yeah. All right, Apex. I know that you said that you were getting ready to have to go here. So, what I want to do before you leave, I want to give you a chance to do a bit of an outro. Just once again, tell everybody who you are, share any links you want on any projects or your channel or whatever you're doing. Just do a bit of an outro if you'd like before you go.
Of course. Let me get to my thing. All right, Apex Comics. I'm putting the link into the chat right now. I do reviews on comic books. I do some art, some comic book hauls, this and that, live streams, and catch me. So anyway, I'll put the link in there. Yeah. Hold on. Give me a moment.
Well, I'm waiting because I'm watching for it to show up on the StreamYard here, so I can.
Oh yeah, I'm being interfered with and typing at the same time. Sorry. Here we go.
You interfered with what? You got a cat going over there or something like
that? No. And here we go. And there we go. It's in the chat right here, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, and thank you for being here. And then when it shows up on the chat here, I'll go ahead and highlight it. So for everybody, there's Apex's channel, I guess. You might want to go check him out. I thank him for being here with us tonight. All right. So with that, we're at hour 45. So leave that up for a moment. Was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about or mention before we start to wrap things up with this day in each history, or this weekend in each history, as it were?
Nothing that I can think of at the moment for me.
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, I think I'm good.
I just heard somebody say something.
Oh, they're moving boxes and stuff around in the background. Ignore them.
All right. So, anyways, again, everybody, there's Apex's channel. You might want to go check out. All right. So, with that, I guess we'll start to wind down a bit here. We're getting close to 2 hours here. I thank you guys for being here. So, one of the things we'll do before we head out, of course, we'll go ahead and today being Sunday, June 25th, 2023, we will take a look back at this weekend in each history. History! So, right. So, I'm just reviewing here real quick. All right. So, anyways, going back yesterday,
June 24th.
right? So, we're going to go ahead and take a look back at this weekend in each history. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look back at 15 years ago yesterday. 15 years ago yesterday, back in 2008, Glass Maiden would complete its run. Studio Fantasia's Glass Maiden would complete its run in Japan on this date back in 2008. 15 years ago today, Glass Maiden from Studio Fantasia would complete its run on this date back in 2008. All right. And that one I don't think was dubbed, so I don't know if you guys would have seen it or not.
Well, you're
Anyway.
looking up the other next ones. I've got some neat history. 50 years ago today, the creator of Cross Comics was born.
Yeah.
Right. Happy birthday to Rick, who just celebrated his
Merry
50th
life
birthday.
ceremony.
2008, and then
That's super niche.
Yeah.
1993. All right. So, anyways, going back 30 years ago today, as soon as I can. 30 years ago today, the Hearst Entertainment Company's Legend of Prince Valiant would complete its run on the Family Channel on this date back in 1993. 30 years ago today, The Legend of Prince Valiant, produced by Hearst Entertainment Productions, would finish up on its channel, on the Family Channel. So that was 30 years ago today. The Legend of Prince Valiant would conclude its run. Moving ahead to 2003, 20 years ago today. 20 years ago today, the 5th issue of Braff from CrossGen Comics would go on sale on this date 20 years ago today. Sold for $2.95 for 32 cents. No title of the story, but it was written by Chuck Dixon, penciled by Andrea DeVito, inked by Roland Paris, lettered by Dave Lamphere, and colored by Rob Schwieger. So on this date, 20 years ago today, the 5th issue of Brath from CrossGen Comics went on sale. And finally, last piece of niche history from 2008. On this date in 2008, the Ultimate Warrior would defeat Orlando Jordan for the NWA or New Wave Entertainment World Heavyweight Championship. He would immediately vacate the title afterwards. Now, aside from just simply the fact of winning the title, this would be the Ultimate Warrior's last title he would win and hold it for less than a day. He would, they said he almost immediately vacated it. So on this date, 15 years ago today, the Ultimate Warrior would win the NWE World Heavyweight title. I believe New Wave Entertainment was based over in Europe.
My only question is, why even go for the title if you're going to vacate it right away?
I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I guess we could theoretically look into that a little bit here, see if they say anything about it. It may have been one of those things where maybe he was only contractually obligated for the one match or whatever. I don't, but then again, that wouldn't make much sense of putting oh yeah, New Weight. Here we go. So during an April 1919 or 2008 New Wrestling Evolution event in Madrid, Spain, Warrior was presented with an award celebrating his professional wrestling career in front of 15,000 attendees. During the presentation, NWE champion Orlando Jordan mocked a fan of Warriors, resulting in a heated argument between Warrior and Jordan. As a result of the exchange, a match between Warrior and Jordan was scheduled for June 25th, 2008 in the Palau Municipal de Esport de Badalona in Barcelona, marking the Warriors' first professional wrestling match since October 1998.
Oh,
Warriors,
wow. 10 years.
Yeah. Warriors agent Bernie Gurney released a statement saying, quote, "For over 10 years, this is what the entire wrestling world has been waiting for. The return of Warrior. We are excited to bring back the greatest character and energy to ever get into the ring. Ultimate Warrior is an incredible marketing machine and has kept a tremendous value to his name, which is why the NWE has stepped up with a substantial deal that worked very well for both sides. There is no disputing that Warrior left a mark on professional wrestling. Some good, some bad, if you know kind of some of the backstage issues that were happening during his time in the WWE. Some of the issues and I think that might be part of why this happened. But anyways, and no other talent did, and the reason why still today he is often imitated but never duplicated. Over the next few days, the NWA will inform fans.
I have to disagree with it on one thing. There's one other wrestler that left probably a bigger mark on wrestling than
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, people would argue with you about that too. I lived the place before this with some Ultimate Warrior super fans who were like basically heartbroken the day that he passed too, and they would be like, you'd be hard pressed to tell them anybody was more important than the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Hogan was a key figure in turning the professional wrestling industry from a territorial business to a national business. With his initial, with the whole rock and wrestling stuff going on in the 80s there.
Yeah, he got his own cartoon. Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. Uh, he had started in a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
Hogan is the
I'm not
guy.
denying that.
Hogan is kind of the guy, just as Billy Graham, superstar Billy Graham, was the guy kind of paved the way for Hogan and Jesse Ventura and those type of guys, those bodybuilder types. Hogan was the guy who paved the way for what you see with like The Rock,
Yeah,
Batista,
even he would
John
have paved the
Cena.
way for somebody like the Warrior, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm not trying to say that the Warrior wasn't good, and he might be his mark might be number 2, but I think
Oh,
Hogan's
I've got
would just
no
be,
dog in this race. I'm just saying, like, that's like
Yeah.
I
yeah,
know people who would fight to the death over that.
And I'm just adding to the conversation. That's all I'm doing. So
yeah.
over the
I'm
next
just
few
saying
days,
it for something to say.
over the next few
I'm more
days,
of a macho man guy.
Yeah.
NWE will inform fans of the preparations for one of the biggest and most important wrestling events ever to be held in Europe. As the news progresses, it is to be the headlines of wrestling news and forums uh, throughout the internet, and will most likely have all the wrestling industry and fans alike. So there's no reason why there's nothing. They're not saying why only he'll. Now it could be. Remember, this is the first time he wrestled in like 10 years. So the last time he wrestled prior to this was during the time he went into um,
Yeah,
the last time he went into WCW when basically he went in there so Hulk Hogan could get his win back from WrestleMania
yeah,
6.
yeah. So
Mhm.
he might not have just wanted to
Right.
wrestle anymore since it's
Well,
been
yeah,
10 years.
he
He
had been
just
out
came
of
back for
business
the
for
one
10
match.
years, and then he was coming back for maybe one match, and then just wanted to go back. And Warrior did some other things too. I mean, when after Warrior was let go the first time because of the shenanigans he got involved with Vince over the money
Yeah,
issue, he tried to hold Vince up for making an appearance at Summer. When they brought
yeah,
him back in, I think it was 95 or 96. He was publishing a comic at the time.
yeah. And maybe it was just a way also for this NWE organization, wrestling organization, to get the belt off the guy and have some sort of tournament for it too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, to Orlando Jordan?
Yeah, I guess maybe he wanted it or whatever, didn't want it or whatever. They wanted to do a tournament to see who gets the belt because that's probably what happened after the war
Well,
vacated it, right?
usually, what would happen in most wrestling promotions, if they wanted a title off of somebody, if they couldn't take it off in the ring, they could strip it if they say like, oh, he's not, you know, New Wave, Evolution is one of those like, yeah, the organization in Europe don't know, heard a little bit about it here and there, but don't know why they would have, unless at the time, now again, I don't know what was going on there at that time, wasn't following
Yeah,
that organization, but it was revealed years later Orlando Jordan is gay. And if they had an issue with a gay man holding the title, that they could have. But then again, what they probably didn't want to do is they didn't want to risk just stripping him of the title, and having some kind of lawsuit come out. If it came out that they didn't want a gay man to have the
yeah,
title. I mean, again, just speculating. Don't know anything for sure.
yeah,
Um, but anyways, guys, I thank you guys for being here tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show and enjoyed the talk. We're coming
yeah.
up on 2 hours here.
Hey, look, Mortal Kombat's back.
Where did you see that?
Oh no,
No, the game.
for the longest time, the Mortal Kombat arcade game had been in the background here, but for like the last month or so, it hadn't been.
Ah,
So it's,
Oh, they just put it back.
Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, guys, I thank you for being here tonight, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope our fans enjoyed the show too. I thank everybody for all the likes and shares, and I hope that we can get more of you to come out the rest of the week as well. I'll be. Oh wait! Before we go, forgot. Got to give you guys a chance to outro too. We'll start with Rick, and then Rick, Metal, and then I'll finish up. Rick.
Got comics. I got a YouTube channel and all that. A bunch of different
Feel free
social
to
media.
share your links as well. By the way.
Yeah. Yeah. If everybody could, if you haven't, go watch. That's not the thing I wanted to put in there. I almost put in the link to the backstage part of this. I don't think
Oh, no.
Mike would have liked that.
Well,
the show's almost over.
Well, yeah, I mean, but plus, yeah, well, Rick knows why I send out the link instead of just opening it up.
Well, I think it's smart for anybody to do that, frankly, most of the time.
But you know the specific history as to why.
Yeah. So I was just about to put the link to my channel in there. If anybody wants to go subscribe to my YouTube channel, it'd be really great to have you all there.
All right. Anything more you want to say, Rick?
Just I've got hopefully in a month or less I will be coming out with I think I'm gonna do Kickstarter for the Canadian Shield remastered.
Okay.
This is how to go fund my comic. I'll do fund my comic for Canadian Shield 3.
Yeah. And I know you'll be coming out to my neck of the woods in September for that one con.
Yeah. Yeah, September's gonna be a busy month for me.
All right. All right. Anything more you'd like to say, or?
Not that I can think of at this time.
All right. All right. Metal, go for it. And feel free
hey.
to share links too, by the way.
Of course. I also just want to note that I helped Rick quite a bit with his remasters and just editing in general. We've been in calls a lot lately too, making sure that even things that I forgot the first time, helping him edit, have been fixed this time around. So that's been fun. But I'm the Metal. I create X Dynamis Chaos, and hey, if you've ever wanted to get your hands on a physical copy of X Dynamis Chaos because you don't like reading digital and you just want something in your hands, you can go to xdynamischaos.com/store, and I have links to every outlet you could possibly bother to get it. You could even get my novel version if you want to. It's all there. Shows you exactly what the price is before you click and go to the shop that you can get it on. Most of them are Indie Planet, some are Amazon, but it's easy to get.
All right. Anything more?
That's it. No, that's good.
All right. Well, I thank everybody for being here. So I'll be back, of course, tomorrow night with more niche news. Of course, we come to you 6 nights a week. Sunday nights are our panel show, the weekend edition. On Monday through Thursday, our niche newscast. And then on Fridays, of course, our historical comics retrospect. This week, I'll have Tim Olson.
I thought I was on the 7th.
Huh?
Aren't I on the 7th?
This Friday's the 30th, Rick.
Oh, okay. My
Yeah,
bad.
you're getting ahead of yourself. Dude.
Yes, you are on the 7th, but this Friday is the 30th.
Is it the 7th?
All right. So this Friday we will have Tim Olson will be co-hosting with me. As we'll be continuing our look at November 1939, looking at comics that went on sale from what was then known as Timely Comics, what we know now as Marvel Comics. We'll be looking at, I think, Marvel Mystery Comics number 3, I believe. And that particular month, they only did that one comic, so that means we will be looking at the Human Torch, Namor, and Kazar. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.